But first, I am thrilled to bring you James Gelvin of the University of California, Los Angeles. His book is flat out the definitive short volume, readable volume on the modern Middle East. Professor Gelvin, thrilled to have you back on the program.
Good to be here.
What is the distinction we need to know about Egypt? What have you learned in the last week as you look forward to this new week in Egypt?
What I've learned is that these processes are going to take a long time. That what we saw already was the beginning phase, the opening salvo. Now the government is responding by pretty much attempting to split the opposition. We don't know what direction it's going to go. We don't know whether the momentum is going to remain with the opposition or is going to be back in the government's hands.
When you look at the new Egypt, the modern Middle East of your classic book, and folks, it's read this today. We'll show it to you on the way out. But if you look at your modern Middle East, Egypt is a long way from the nostalgia of the 50s and the pre-Nasser 60s. Tell us about the modern Egypt.
Well, I think we do have to start back, though, with Nasser. And I think what we're seeing today is a response to the state's backing away from its populist promises that had been made under Nasser. The state had subsidized many of the foodstuffs, had supported state industrialization. The state had guaranteed employment. The state guaranteed education. And slowly over time, under Anwar Sadat and under Hosni Mubarak, the state began to back away from these commitments that it had made. Now, what's important, though, is that what social scientists call the social compact that was made between the Nasserist regime and the population. In return for goodies, the regime expected compliance. Unfortunately, for the successors of Nasser, first of all, Nasser's policies, economic policies, did not fare too well anyway. But on top of that, these regimes were forced by the international economy to back away from many of those promises that they had made. And so one part of that compact was violated by the state. And so the population, if we can extend this metaphor a bit, the population was fundamentally saying, look, you back down, we're backing now.
Professor Gelvin, when you look at what the United States can do, maybe our leverage is money. That's fine. We have a lot of money that we can give them. Can we use that as a tool or a weapon of guidance to move the Egyptian debate, or are we just plain and simply removed from the Egyptian future?
We have a role that we can play, and you're absolutely right. It's the money, and it's the way the money is actually targeted. We give Egypt about $1.5 billion every year in military assistance. What we're going to see is the army is going to emerge as the critical player in this entire rebellion. Which way the army goes, whether or not the army is going to be the power behind the throne, whether or not the army is going to be a throne itself, that is going to be a very important way in which this rebellion is going to play itself out. And the United States does have a great deal of influence with the military. Professor,
I don't remember the details of, not protests of your lectures at UCLA, but just the argument here about an Israeli-Egyptian dialogue. How should the Israeli government respond to the unrest in Egypt?
The Israeli government really has no role to play and really should stay out. At this point, what we see is very much on the table the animosity the population feels towards the regime itself, towards economic conditions, towards the breaking up of that social compact. As soon as the United States or Israel begins to make noises, move into the forefront, that's when the whole situation gets sidetracked. And I think that would be a wrong direction for it to go.
James Gelvin, John Stylianakis in Riyadh today told me that this was a Facebook protest, a leaderless protest working within social media. Give us your assistance here. Does social media matter within this protest? Is this a leaderless Facebook protest?
Well, let me respond to two things. First of all, I think for all your viewers, they should take a look once again at Frank Rich's column yesterday in the New York Times, which I thought was quite good. That we are targeting, we're looking at this, we're saying it's a social media revolution and so on and so forth. When social media has been around for a long time, it's been around in Egypt for at least 3 years. There's never been revolutionary activity like there is today. and that the real reason is not social media per se for what's going on in Egypt, but it's the Egyptian population itself having grown tired of the stagnation in just living standards and actually the widening gap between rich and poor and the autocracy as well.
Well, we're going to have to leave it there, Professor Gelvin. I'm sorry for that. James Gelvin, folks, of UCLA.